right.
All right, bet.
What's good,
Get
everybody?
started.
Welcome to Voice of the Era podcast. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button for more content. Today we are lit. We are here. We're back. And we got some special guests for you. So please introduce yourself or your socials. Not your social security, by the way. Well, let's get to it. Start off with you.
I'm Erica. I live in Queens, born in Brooklyn. I don't really have any personal socials. I have several business ones, but no personal. So if that's what you're looking for, sorry, I'm a little
What business do you
off
have?
social media right now. So I do have one delivery restaurant, and also I have a couple of like digital businesses right now I'm working on. One is more geared towards like kids education, and the other one is kind of like starting on it. So that one's in the works, but those are the two. And I do like consulting, like bank consulting and stuff like that in my free time. So
That's dope. So what's the name of the food
see,
business
the
name?
only reason why I'm not gonna say because I don't like to be the face of it. Yeah, like I don't want to be the face of the business because you know how some people, some people are. They're like they'll judge, like your business based on whoever the owner is, and so at least not yet. Not yet. Maybe sometime moving forward, I would like people to know who I am to have a little bit of transparency. But I don't think I need that at this point.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Let's get to you, madam.
Hi everyone, I'm Shantae. My social media is TayH4716, and I'm currently in banking.
Okay.
Them Chevys is hitting.
Yes.
Lajon. What's up, y'all? Y'all know who it is. Wubuwadi, Harlem representative here. Let's get started, man. You know that.
BX, baby. Come on now.
Yo, me and him have
We
a
ain't gonna
debate
do that.
all the time.
Love
But we
it.
ain't gonna do that today, though.
Oh
Come on,
man.
man.
Can I sit that BX? Y'all scared
BX,
me.
baby. Come on now. But get to it, my
It's
brother.
Cool. I get along with BX. I get along with all the boroughs.
Yeah.
All right. So, on your upbringing with your family, like your family dynamics, do you feel like growing up, whatever you was going through in the household or whatever lesson or tradition, culture-wise, that you was growing up with your family, do you feel like that had an effect on how you viewed relationships or whatever relationship you were in?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I think almost anything that happens during your upbringing is going to affect you, how you see life in general.
Okay.
Holistically, it's just going to affect you. And, to try not to too much put personal inside. I feel like if certain things were, my culture, my family, we're from Haiti, and I'm not going to say all, first generation Haitian here were like not very loving or expressive, like of love and stuff like that. But in our household, and I did see that amongst other Haitian households too, like we could get along and we could have a lot of fun together, but they weren't very like, they're not, affectionate. They're not very encouraging. They don't give you like affirmations and things like that. A lot of that stuff is like unnecessary. They'll push you to go to school, though. They'll push you to go to school, not, but they won't be like, oh, you look good, you look great, try to make you feel good about yourself, build your self-esteem. They don't really, that's not really like in the forefront for them. And I think maybe a lot of families too, but experiencing that firsthand, I could see where them not helping me with that kind of made me, I had to figure out how to build my self-esteem later. And I had to figure out what healthy relationships kind of look like as an adult. I had to figure that out on my own and not really seeing too much of that. Although I seen a lot of traditional relationships where all my aunts and uncles, my mom and dad married and stuff like that. The traditional stuff that people like to see, husband and wife in the home. A little bit of community because, aunts and uncles. But I don't think it helped me too much with, like knowing what I wanted and what shouldn't I accept, what should I see, how should I operate in a relationship. I don't think it helped a lot with that. So
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely say like my upbringing was very rocky, especially at the relationship with my mom. And like just figuring out how to love and how to show love to my kids. Like Erica said, like, we didn't experience that. It wasn't something that is like what you would see on TV, like a family dynamic or like Family Matters. Like you grow up wanting that relationship. So I try to implement that now. But I do honestly find myself reverting to like how I grew up with my mom in a relationship, and I try to check myself and like I say, hey, Shantae, like no, try to be loving and encouraging with my children as well because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question on that, right? So what do you think would be the solution to building more progress within the family household so that it doesn't trickle onto the future generations for that?
I would say like just listening to your kids. Like I have to my son tells me how he feels, and I have to remind myself like I have to take the time to listen instead of just talking.
Yes, that.
And that will help. And
Yeah.
I like to self-reflect a lot of the times and just think about how I could have did it better or how I could
Right.
handle it better
Right.
as a parent. I
Yeah.
think that's gonna help.
Yeah, that's
change.
important. Like I'm not
Yeah.
always right. I think nobody had like the Bible to being a parent.
Right.
And not even our parents or their parents' I think the more I grew up, I realized I was like, wait, we all was just winging this, huh? My mom and my dad, they was all winging it. His parents, because you did what you thought you knew best of, and usually you got that from your parents and the parents' parents and stuff like that, and it was just passed down. So you think you know what you're doing, but I'm like, none of us is doing this perfect. We're all trying to figure things out, and for me, I think it's good, like you said, to reflect because I'm like, yo, I could be wrong. I may not always express that to my son up front. I'll try to choose how I, express that. But, I definitely reflect. And I would say like for in like my household and a lot of my aunts and uncles and, friends that I had and I seen their households, like the parents will be present, like the mom and the dad will be present, but they're not, they're not accessible. They're not available like for conversation. Like we didn't have a relationship. Even though they were there, it didn't impact me in a positive way, all the time. Not all the time. It was like, it could be sometimes a little bit more traumatic to have a person who's present there than, not having them around because like, whatever relationship you guys have or whatever's lacking there, it could actually create the trauma and create this, the habits or whatever that you form later on in relationships, the things that you're actually seeing, like how me and my brother, for example, like maybe how me and my brother interact or how me and my dad interacts. If he's never speaking to me and I'm always like, like whatever, or I don't see him really interacting with my mom, that might be even more damaging than, whether or not they're in a household working and stuff like that. Like, oh, wow, they're not kissing and loving on each other. They not, Sorry.
So would you, all right.
Y'all gotta cut me off because I could be
question
long. I'll
is-
keep going. Cut me off.
So I'll say this, right? Do you think most people actually even seek, not seek, but do you think they actually speak to their parents about these things? Because I see a lot in most cases from what I see with people is people can express these things to other people, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of people don't really express it to everybody. It's a selective few that they will express it to.
Yeah.
But they never ever really spoke to their parents about these kind of situations. So it's like, to me, it kind of makes it look as if like it's pointless to have the debate if you're not actually trying to apply the pressure to ask your parents these kind of things.
But how?
Whether you're going through something or not. Oh, hey, Dad, let me talk to you about this. This is what I'm going through.
Right.
He would have the solutions for you, or your mom. You ask her, she would have the solutions for you. But if you don't vocalize these things, they wouldn't know it. Because a lot of people also do have this saying of like, oh yeah, my parents is in a home, but it wasn't there. But have you ever asked them this? When they ever came to talk to you, have you ever brought something up to them?
But
That's what makes it a bit more difficult for
My
them.
Mom didn't do much talking. It was just yelling.
I think a lot of parents do that. They talk at their kids, like you were
Yeah.
saying, they're talking at your kids. And I don't know, for me, and looking at it from being a parent now, it's not my son's job to figure out how to talk to me. It's not my child's job to figure out how to communicate with me. If I'm setting the tone, if I'm setting the standard, if I'm the adult, and I'm the one bringing you up, and I'm the one who's raising you, I'm teaching you how to be a little human.
Yeah.
It's not my job to teach you when it's right to come talk to me. I mean, I'm sorry. It's not your job to come and figure out when it's the best time to talk. I think I should open up the floor and make it comfortable for my kid and create that balance of like, I'm the parent, you respect me, but feel safe to come talk to me and feel safe. So I do see that in my son's face, for example, to bring a little bit of personal in it, is like, I will see his face when I'm talking to him, and then I'll be like, okay, I know I made my point in the discipline part. Now I gotta like, okay, what do you need to say? It looks like you have something. I can see your face. You want to say something? My parents didn't do that. So even though I'm not saying, it's not about that they did everything wrong or right or whatever, but I'll look at the things that happen. I'll take bits and pieces and be like, that maybe didn't go well. Let me try to do the opposite. Or that part worked well. Let me do that. And applying different things and figure it out for myself, because they didn't create that floor. And I don't know anyone. I'm not gonna say not one person. So for argument's sake, let me say a couple of people who are like, when I was younger, I could always tell my parents everything. That's not really the case. I don't know about you, but I wasn't telling my mom when I was thinking about things like being intimate with a boyfriend. I couldn't even talk boyfriend. What about that? I can't talk boyfriend. I gotta pretend like I'm a virgin until I'm like 30 years old.
33?
Like,
I mean, I think there's certain things such as boundaries that parents should always have with their kids.
yeah.
Like, this the thing, right? There's certain conversations you shouldn't even feel comfortable to even have with your parents. Like, how talking about intimacy all the time, like going into depth in the details about it, I think that kind of like enables it a lot of the times to make it worse. Because the era that we do live in, people are more vocal with a lot of wild things right now. Kids are telling their parents, hey, I feel like I am a girl today. And their parents like, you know what? I believe it too. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to the hospital and go do this and that. And now what that does is it creates more of a cycle where people are just like they choose to they say they want to do something as a kid, right? And then their parents go for it and do it. Then later on down the line, they can't handle it. Like right now, they're also leading in like also, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're also leading in a lot of the self-deletion rates that happens. They're in full, complete, like, regret of them transitioning from a young age, and they didn't know what the hell they were doing. So, like I said, like, I get it. Being vulnerable and opening up and speaking about these things a lot of the times is cool, but I don't think parents should even be okay with even allowing certain things to happen or go on, because it causes more harm than anything else.
I would say it's so easy. Like, those things are easy said than done. Like, there's a lot of things I said that I wouldn't do before I was a parent that I'm like, ooh, it puts me in a tough spot. Like, I would, and again, I would say, because I'm raising two young brown boys, it's one of the hardest things ever. Because I remember someone bringing up a point, like, a lot of Black men don't get to have a childhood and they don't get to enjoy a childhood, because I have to go straight into, okay, well, because you look like this, you might experience that. Or, you have to be more aware and you can't do certain things that maybe your friends or, may get away with. You have to be more mindful on how the decisions that you make. So it is so tough. And again, like, I couldn't go back to raising any more kids.
So I understand that. Before I go in and like I said, start carrying on, I was, I didn't want to like jump in and say anything before like. I wanted to hear what
I was gonna give
you
my
thought.
perspective on my own question. For me, I would say like I had more open dialogue like with my mom compared to my father. Like with my father, like you said, school. Like I feel like I couldn't have no other conversation with him if it wasn't about school. Like for real though, if
Right.
it wasn't about school
Grades,
or like
grades.
hustling, like I couldn't talk about nothing else, like
Right.
girls or like how do I tackle this? Yeah, how do I tackle this problem? Or like if I'm out in the street and somebody do something, like obviously he's gonna tell me to defend myself, but like
Right.
like what solutions I could use
Fact.
to get out of certain situations. Like I felt like I couldn't have that conversation with him. Like with my mom, like I feel like I could go to her about certain stuff, but I can't really tell her everything.
Of course not.
You feel me?
You can
So
never.
that's
Right.
how it was. And also I feel like my pops, he was more like a tough love
Right.
type of
guy.
guy. So like when I was looking for that sort of love, like I felt like I wasn't getting that. And I
Right.
felt like that made me a lot more reserved,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I can't really open up about certain stuff. You feel
Exactly.
me? And I feel
Exactly.
like that trickled down to like how I
Uh-huh.
go into relationships with certain people.
That's
like my
right.
communication, I would say before my communication was horrible. I'm still
Right.
working on that, but
We all.
you feel me? Like
We
my
all.
communication was horrible and stuff like that. So it's just like I feel like you said it does trickle down
Yeah.
to certain relationships. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't
100%.
show just the interactions that I've been with you in the past.
Mhm.
Like you're like very nonchalant. You don't like
yeah,
show
it's
affection. Okay.
yeah. I've been trying, man. I'm trying, but it's
Yeah.
it's hard. It's
You know,
hard.
like you don't like I grew up like that. Like
Mhm.
I was very tomboyish, but aside from that part, I was like very cut off with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like it may look like I'm having fun and laughing, but they'd be like, "We don't know you."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had this one girl, I used to go to this church, and the girl she said, "Does anybody know you?" I was like, "What do you mean? My mom, my dad, my sister?" She
Yeah.
said, No. But do they know you? And the
Yeah.
way she said it, and I was like, no. And I was looking at her and like, then I started thinking, I was like, no, why would I let them know that? Like, why would I let anybody in?
Yeah.
And I started thinking, I was like, wait, they don't, you know, and I'm not saying you should let everyone know you. I think you should definitely choose, you know, who you let in and what parts of you, you know,
What
but
show?
that second guessing yourself always and like doubting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That lack of certainty and like, you know, and that, you know, when you're meeting someone, that part there, that does a lot of time come from, you know, how you were raised. Did your family make you feel open and comfortable with like expressing yourself?
Yeah.
Or did they make you feel bad? Or did they make you feel uncomfortable? And like, what are you doing? Don't talk to me. So you probably didn't have to ask your dad, like, can I talk to you about this? You already knew in your mind,
Yeah.
I can't talk to him about that, till it was just self-conscious and you just curbed yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna talk to him about that.
Yeah.
I'm either not gonna talk at all or find a friend or something.
Yeah.
Right?
And I feel like now, like I would say high school, like towards my later years, that's when he'll sit like me and my brother down and have like a family discussion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like trying to figure out what's going on. But
Oh,
it's
wow.
just like, yo, like me and my brother, we just did like, all right, what we sitting here for? Like, we don't really got nothing. It's like, it's like, yo, like if we say something, like we don't know how the conversation gonna go.
Right.
Like it might go left,
Right.
and we didn't get anywhere. So it's just like, all right, we'll say certain things, and then like he'll say something, and then it'll be like, all right, cool. But he was like, as he was getting older, he would try to have like more conversation. Like now, like he's more like affectionate and he's communicating more and stuff like that. But it's just like, yo, like we're older now.
Right.
But I guess
Right.
in his perspective, he's seeing that like y'all becoming young men,
Right.
so y'all
The
probably
hardest part
see
is
like
probably
what's
over.
going on. Yeah,
I think that's part of it. But
Mhm.
also, like I was saying, is that we're all just learning. Like even as
As we go,
adults,
yeah.
I'm
Still
still
learning.
like
they're learning. Yeah,
I think so. To give a little grace to the adults and the parents that
Mhm.
we had, like they didn't know either, and maybe they felt uncomfortable because they were raised like that as well.
Yeah.
Like it was cold. It wasn't like very, you know, affectionate, and they
Mhm.
didn't know the parents were there, but they weren't accessible to share their feelings. They couldn't talk. So I think that just like you said, it was a cycle that
Mhm.
was like, you know, carried on, and then they didn't know how to talk. So I think as he got older, and I'm not saying that that's what
Mhm.
happened. I'm only saying from what I've seen for myself and people that I know,
Mhm.
it's like you start to try to like be better, hopefully, or
Yeah.
do better, or you reflecting on things, or maybe you're like, dang, I lost a lot of time. Cause you know, as you get older, that, you know, the reality does hit you. I'm not gonna be here forever. My kids are getting old. I'm getting old. Like, let me try to do something
Mhm.
while we're here still,
Yeah.
you know?
What about you? They didn't answer the question, bro.
Yeah.
What?
You gotta answer the question, man.
I heard you guys' households are very strict.
It's not
My household
I-
strict.
Mine was strict.
It's strict, but
So, I'll
to a
say
certain
this.
point,
Mine
though.
was
I would say
strict.
this, right? So my household is different, right?
Mhm.
Like how we were brought up. My dad was like, have you ever seen a movie? It's my favorite movie, by the way.
Mhm.
300.
No.
I did see 300 Sparta.
So you seen
Sparta?
like
Yeah.
so you seen like how, for example, like the Spartans, what they would do
Mhm.
with when they have kids is they want like they they throw their kids in like in
Like a
like
fight or a battle.
nah, like in the cold mountains
Mhm.
type shit, and the kid would have to like build himself up as a
Mhm.
man.
Basically
I
fend
get
for
it. I
himself,
get it.
yeah.
I get it.
You get what I'm
I
saying?
get what you're
Basically
saying.
prove himself.
Right.
And eventually when they become a teenager, they sent them out to fight or find a wolf to kill.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And the strong survive and then the weak don't, right?
Mhm.
So my father was one of those kind of people, right?
Mhm.
So it's more so about like he understood that the world don't like you. They
Mhm.
won't fuck with you. Like
Mhm.
my dad honestly told us this.
Chew you up and spit you
So
right out.
he was like, yeah, he said they don't care about your feelings. They don't care about nothing else. That's what reality is.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go out of this house, understand what you represent. You
Mhm.
represent this family last name.
Right.
This is
right.
what you identify as. And this is how we move as this family.
Mhm.
Okay.
So in other people's eyes, they might see that, nah, that's strict. That's like you got no freedom. But when you walked out, you had a lot of pride
Mhm.
knowing where you come from.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Knowing that, okay, like you have a lot of people who look up to you.
Mhm.
And you have to present yourself very well with how you interact with people and how you basically move out in life.
Yeah.
So that's how my dad always was. Certain conversations, we wouldn't have it, right? Because we already understood. He led by example, right? We see him how he moved as a man. We see how he led as a man.
Mhm.
So we followed suit and did the same thing.
Mhm.
And we haven't seen it go wrong for him.
Mhm.
We haven't seen it go wrong for our uncles or our other forefathers. And it hasn't gone wrong for us. And that's how we've done it. Over time with African parents, it's not like they don't know how to talk with you. They just wait for you to be of age for them to have comfortable conversations with you.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the time they also understand that kids make dumb decisions.
Mhm.
Kids may say they want to do something one day and then the next day they change their mind. They can tell you that they want the new Jordans today. Tomorrow, nah, I want some Nikes. I don't like this shit no more.
Mm-hmm.
So my father always understood that. He always like instilled in us that, look, man, pursue the things that you want in life, but understand that, like, it has to make sense. It can't just be moving off of emotions.
Mhm.
That's what it was. Maybe at the time when we were younger, we saw it as, damn, man, let's do mad mean,
Mhm.
bro.
Mhm.
Right.
But over time, when you grow up, you start to understand that, damn, nah, he was actually teaching me how to survive.
Mhm.
And I think that's how you raise a man.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So my dad, that's how he was. Over time, we couldn't even talk about girls with my
Yeah.
dad. That dude,
Fact.
you talk about
Fact.
what? He would slap you. Like he would just look. You feel
You
me?
too.
So-
You couldn't talk about.
Yo, you
oh yeah,
couldn't
you
even
did
do
say
that.
that. You did say that.
But now I'm at an
That's
age
a
where
good thing.
Yeah.
Let me know you interested in girls.
No. My dad, no, trust me. My dad seen us. You know, yo.
He was comfortable, I guess. In that
Yeah, it felt like it was a distraction.
But this is the thing, right? My dad, like, so with us, my dad didn't want to, he didn't want us to be comfortable to have those kind of conversations with him because he already understood, like, male nature when you start dealing with a bunch of women. Like, you start to feel like, okay, you're invincible, you tough. You was able to conquer this girl, you was able to get that girl, whatsoever, right? So my dad, he literally had a meeting with me and my older brother, and he was like 2 a.m. He's like, look, I have nothing wrong with y'all messing around with girls and all of that. It's cool. But y'all starting to become of age where, like, y'all need to be chilling out. Y'all should understand that, all these girls that y'all getting right now are all temporary and they're not long
what
term.
You was a
This-
I was about.
Yeah, I was like, what age is
Were
this?
you a teenager? Like when you older?
Nah, we was in our 20s.
In your 20s?
20s?
Telling us that, yeah.
I mean, gotta have the conversation. Gotta happen.
No.
Have you
This the
I'm
thing.
thinking like 13,
Look,
14.
high school
This is the thing.
You're a man now.
Because, all right, my dad, he knows his kids,
right.
right? And not only that, even when I was in high school, my dad seen a picture on Facebook before me.
Oh God!
Right,
Keep the
so
parents off Facebook, please.
Nah, I blocked him. I blocked him.
Tell you.
But that day, anyway, after he saw the picture, I woke
They
in the
can't be
house.
following you.
He's on the table like this. Like, we had a big table in the living room. He just like this, looking at me.
Oh my God!
Watching me walk to the room. I'm like, damn. The moment I got to the room, blocked him as soon as possible.
Yes.
Feel me? But my dad, it was like with him, he would like, in that meeting that he had with us, he told us, like, yo, I don't want to meet any of the women that y'all are dealing with. That's exactly what he told us.
Okay.
Unless you see a
Serious.
future with her, do
Right,
not
right.
bring her
That
in my
makes sense.
presence. Like, that's how my dad always
That
was.
makes
He would
sense.
tell us that shit.
Mhm.
So those are the kind of conversations he would have with us. And now, like, we could talk about anything right now. I talk to my dad about everything right now.
Like detail.
I go in detail. He a man like me, man. We grown. So
Okay.
I'd be like, yo, dad, I ain't gonna lie, man. I was talking to fine shorty right now. I kind of like her, man. He's like, where? He said, where's she
Mhm.
from?
Gotta know. He gotta know that
Once he find
first.
out, like,
You know,
okay,
values.
cool.
Because he gonna judge
What's
right
her
away the
family-
values.
What's her family background?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, where? Her parents married?
I have a question.
Like he asks a lot of these kind of questions. So
Mhm.
that's what it is right now. And my dad gives advices and we even give him advices. And then on top of that, we talk about a lot of like business things. Like this the thing though, it grows on them.
Mhm.
They want you to show that you're mature enough to have these conversations. But if you never ask them, they're not gonna know.
Yep.
And that's all it really was. Because back then when I was young, I used to think that, my dad wasn't open to having conversations. Until I started joking with him. Like my dad got a baldy. I'd be slapping his head. I'm like, what up, man? Feel me? Like
That's
back
crazy.
then, you do that, he would have decked you. And almost everybody scared of my dad.
Mhm.
But I didn't know that until I did it. You get what I'm saying? So you don't know until you ask these questions and then you start to see that, like there are people. Your parents are actually people. They go through things too. You feel me? And if you're comfortable with having these conversations with them, they will be open enough to talk to you about it. But if you don't ask, you can't just expect it. That's what it is. Everybody was brought up differently. And our parents, they're brought up from the traditional times. Talking about like the golden times, like back in the days. So my dad is about to be 70. So he an old school head. The way he was brought up, the way how we were brought up was
Oh, it's
very
completely different. It's night and day.
And that's what it was.
It's
What you was about
100%
to
night
ask?
and day.
No, I was gonna say, because you brought up about your dad, like, do they encourage you to stay within your race and like date women that's has the same religion as you guys? Or-
So I would say this, right?
Just curious.
My dad, would he be happy for me to marry an African Muslim woman? 100%. Is he okay with me marrying any other woman? Yeah. As long as she follows one of the three religions,
Okay, which is
Islam, being Muslim, or being Christian or being Jewish. So aside from that, he don't really care. And then mainly what my dad does is he asks about family background, like always. Is her parents married?
Right.
That's like one of his top concerns.
That's their meter for trying to figure out like the basics
Yeah.
at first. Like
Yeah, so
okay,
they basically check
what are
that
we
out
working
to
with here?
see if she was brought up in a household that understands commitment and
Right.
leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Like my
Right.
dad, that's the main thing he's big on. Even my
thinking
mom, same
values.
thing.
He's thinking values.
Like my mom would literally tell any girl that I talk to, if you are not willing to follow my son's leadership, leave him alone. Off rip. They will tell you. And they don't hesitate. They're not gonna hold back. They will tell you. If you don't follow my son's leadership, leave him alone. Don't waste his time and don't waste your time.
Right.
And my dad would do the same thing too. He'd be like, look, I know my son. I know how my son live. I know the access he have. So what can you bring to him? And my dad will ask you that shit. My mom will ask you too, what can you bring to my son? Aside from a baby and some kuntus. What else can you bring? Can you make a house into a home? Like they will ask you these kind of questions. You feel me? So that's what it really is.
That's a fact.
Aside from that, they don't really care who the girl is. The moms are a bit different. You know, they want you to marry just a girl that look just like them and all that. But my dad, man, he's like, man, listen, man, you a man. Do what you gonna do. Let me just take care of your own. That's it. You know what I mean?
You was gonna say something? I felt like you was gonna say
Nah, I
something.
mean for me, it's different because you said your mom. For me, my mom, she don't care who I marry, like or which girl I talk to.
Okay.
She don't care. But my pops, like before, I remember one time we went to a wedding. You remember when Papu's sister got married?
Oh yeah.
All right. So she married a dude from London for me, so my guy. And I remember one time we came home, he was like, yo, like, if you don't marry a girl that's African, like, I'm not coming to your wedding. And then I asked him, I'm like, yo, like, at the time I was fucking with a Jamaican, so I'm like, yo, like, what if she Jamaican? He's like, nah,
That's not the
she gotta be
same.
African. I'm like, all right,
did
cool.
not
But I
like
feel like now, like, as long as I'm happy, she understand like Islam and stuff like that, like, he's not going to flip like that, but he's still, I could see that he still wants me to be with an African, but my mom, she don't
You know
care.
why though, right?
Yeah. I feel like because I'm like the first male in the house. I think that's what I think.
Please tell us.
That's not-
Why you think so?
That's like the same reason why most people will want you to be with someone that look just like you.
Oh, because they
Can
understand the
relate with each
culture, yeah, the dynamics. And
Well,
stuff.
So
Right.
with them, it's like this. With African parents, they want the culture to still continue. They know that you have an easier understanding when both of y'all come from the
Right.
same
Right,
place.
right. That's what I was gonna
So
say.
they don't really care about the skin as much. Don't get me wrong, some of them do. But mostly they really don't. They just care about, okay, can she understand your culture and is she gonna follow your culture?
Mhm.
And then
So that's what it really is.
I feel like you already know to a certain extent, for the most part, like you guys are going to be like-minded in a lot of things. You're going to share a lot of the same, I guess, expectations, your
Value.
Ideology.
Value, culture,
values,
yeah.
like your beliefs and stuff like
Tradition.
that.
Yeah.
You're going to be a little bit more aligned. There's going to be some differences, but it's a little bit easier. And I think I probably have mentioned that at one point too. Like, do you care if a girl, she's Muslim or something like that, or she believes it or willing to convert?
I don't.
And I'm not saying you would have to. Of course, it'd be your preference. But for me, if I was like, whatever it is, deeply religious or something like that, I would probably be looking for somebody who believed in my religion too, because it's already enough that we're probably going to disagree
Yeah.
about. That's not one of the things you want to kind of, because it's really serious. Like, religion is serious, and people take that seriously. So you don't want to bump heads on that. That's a biggie right there. That one's right there, deal breaker kind of level. So
Religion is not a
important to
deal
me.
breaker
for me,
For me,
I mean, like the type of things you would probably disagree on within the religions. I feel like.
I say, how do I say it? Because religion is not really a major fact. I mean, it plays a major role, right? Me, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm Muslim, but I'm not the best Muslim. I'm gonna be honest and say I don't lie about it. You feel me? Like, I practice as much as I can, but I am not the best. I'm not gonna play and act like I'm innocent. I'm the holiest nigga of all time. I'm not. I'm an asshole sometimes. You feel me? I can't help it. But that's the reason why, for me, like, I don't put it onto someone to have to be Muslim in order for them to be with me. Now, with that being said, I come from an Islamic background and I understand the books and I read it enough to know that, okay, once kids come into the picture, it's a different ball game now. The kids have to follow the religion. So that's something that we're
Okay, so how about this? Because the kids have to follow the religion, and so I'm assuming that if you're having kids, that means you guys are having a serious relationship, you and this person, probably living together,
Marriage.
maybe married. So if this person's not following the religion, then you don't think there's going to be a little bit of conflict. And I think I know why you're saying that too,
It's up
because
to
you're
me.
like, look at your face, wait, don't even.
It's up to me.
Right, that's what I was going to say, because you feel like it's the one opinion that matters, which is your opinion.
No,
whatever
I didn't
you're
say it's my
saying,
opinion, that's
whatever
the
you're
only one that
saying,
matters. Her opinion matters too. The thing is this, right?
it does matter.
Yeah, hell yeah, 100%. Her opinion matters. The thing is this, right? If the kid is not pursuing the religion in any kind of way and whatsoever, at that point, it's either they're of age to say they don't want to, or I'm at fault if it's already starting from a young age.
So what I was saying was, because if the girl doesn't have to be of your religion, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, you don't really care about that, then if she, let's say she doesn't agree with certain things in your religion, that's what I'm saying about, so how do you agree on how to raise the kid?
I won't
If you
even
both
be
are
with
like
her.
upset, huh?
It won't even get that far.
That's what I was saying. Do you
'Cause-
care about the religion part? Then you do care.
100%.
Okay, so you do. Okay.
100%, because that's something that you need to communicate way before
Yeah,
y'all
ahead of
even get
time.
married.
Right, and that's why I was like, she
And-
needs to
yeah,
be of your
exactly.
religion. So that's why I'm like, the people you
Exactly.
date, then you do kind of care if she's at least Muslim friendly, like she been Muslim
the
friendly,
thing.
where she's like, oh no, whatever you want to do,
This the
that
thing, though.
conversation has to happen.
But
Like,
this the thing.
are we gonna do that? That's
This the
deal
thing,
breaker.
right? And this is where I say I can say that people fail at, right? I think a lot of guys fail at this when they don't actually have these deep conversations with people. Because a lot of the time, even with me, when I talk to women that I'm interested in or they're interested in me, they have a negative like thought process when it comes to Islam in general. They think completely negative of
Yeah,
it.
I
and
think
then
it's so
it's ignorant.
Exactly.
It's
So
ignorant.
when I'm able to break down the details of like the things are how it's supposed to go, how it is, and all of that shit, then they start to get a clear understanding of it and they know who they're dealing with.
Right.
And I literally give them an option. Like, if you don't want to mess with a Muslim man, don't be with me. Go find your person and leave me alone, and I leave you alone. I go find my person. Ain't no beef, ain't no nothing. I see you in the street. What's good, homie? We good. Ain't no beef, ain't no problem. You feel me? And I think that's how it should be. Most guys should be able to like articulate themselves very well to break down all of the details of what it is that is going to be with dealing with them. And that's just what it is. Now, if you don't communicate that and shit go left with the kids or whatsoever, you're at fault as the man because you didn't set that standard straight before y'all even got there. That's what it is. That's why I be telling people. Remember when we was talking about boundary with the last episode?
Mhm.
It should always be made in the beginning. That's why I don't hold back. I'm not gonna wait 2 months, 3 months later. Nah, fuck that shit. We're gonna talk about that shit right now. What are the things that you dislike? What are the things that just irks you? What are the things that
Early.
you expect to get from your man?
Mm.
Oh, how do you see us basically in 5 to 10 years? How do you see your relationship or your future being in 5 to 10 years
Mhm.
from now with your kids? What do you think or what do you expect from me? Let me know, and then we'll get there.
Because me too. When I'm dating, I do it with a purpose. Like I need to feel like the person I'm dating, even if I don't expect anything serious from you, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just trying to have fun, see what this person's about. I need to know that he at least has a lot of the things I'm looking for, because then it's a waste of time. Like, what am I gonna do with that later? Let's say I start liking him, and okay, we in like 6 months, and I'm like, oh shoot, he doesn't want nothing that I want.
Yeah, I don't
Now
think
what?
dating should even be a thing.
No, I mean, you gotta date. Oh, you want to do like dating shows? You want to do
No.
like arranged marriages, which is
Hell no.
fine.
Hell no.
No, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if dating's
Hell
not a
no.
thing, how you gonna find?
I never said that.
Okay, but what's your
So, this
definition
the
of
thing,
dating?
right?
Then? What do you mean by
So,
that?
I think dating is like the leading cause to a lot of issues in the day and age that we live in, right? Everyone is fooling around, and don't get me wrong, like I've done it too. I'm not gonna lie about that shit.
Mhm.
And it's creating more toxic situations. It's creating more trauma, and it's not really going nowhere, and it's creating a lot of confusion. As to like back then when people used to actually vet out who it was that they were going to spend a future with, and they were dating with the intent to marry, it had a better success than it is now, right? And I think dating should really start when you are engaged or married with the person, because now you get to explore and experience new things with that person that makes y'all grow together. But when you've dated a bunch of different people now, you have a different thought process on who it is you're going to be with for the rest of your life. It could be some things that they might try to do for you, but for you just thinking like, I did this 10 times, man, you got to do better. Like, this is whack. And that's what happens a lot of the times in the new day and age that we live in, which fucks up with people with their mate selections and all of that shit.
But if you don't date, I mean, you could have all the ideals in theory, theoretical, all you want, but until you actually get in the pool and in the market and start seeing what's actually out there and how your energy, because that matters too.
What's out there is crazy, right?
And it is crazy. It's crazy. But
Bad.
until you actually
Trash.
try it for yourself to feel out the energy that's out there. But I will say I started opening my mind a little bit more. Like, if we're thinking like finding people in, like typical places like in a lounge or a club and
Yeah.
stuff like that, then
That's
yeah,
not gonna
it's
work.
gonna be bad.
Yeah,
It's
that's
gonna.
not
It's not
gonna
the odds are not in your favor if you're doing that. But if you're being more open minded and trying like different ways of like meeting somebody you probably would spend your future with or whatever, and you're figuring out different ways, I think you should be dating people and being very strategic and purposeful about it and intentional about
Let me ask
who
y'all
you
a
meet
question.
and how you spend your time with them, who you
I got-
spend your time with.
I got a question for y'all. Do
Yeah.
y'all think people are actually dating right now with the intent to have a future with somebody?
No.
Like with somebody?
Not the majority. Not the majority.
So why date at this point? It's not helping nobody.
Because people want to have a good time.
Okay, so
Yeah,
A
what's
good
the
time. What-
alone.
All right, define good time. What is a good time?
Someone I can chill, laugh with, but
You can't do that while married with somebody?
it just gets so oh my god, it just gets so like business. Like it's just
No.
What you mean
I'm just
business?
asking.
like
If you marry somebody, can you not do the same things?
It could be fun. It could be.
But we're putting
no,
the cart before the horse, though.
no.
In order to get married, you
No,
gotta
no, no.
date.
First of all,
That's what I'm saying. You gotta meet people.
no, that's not how it
You don't
works.
just get married unless
There's
you're
a
getting an
vetting
arranged marriage. How are you gonna meet somebody?
There's a vetting process at all times. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Like you're gonna have 20, you day against 20, day versus 50, and if 50 women are gonna walk in, how else are you gonna see
Hell no.
who you want? That's
Like,
what I'm saying. How are you gonna know these people?
first
Where are they
of-
coming from? Where's the pool?
first off, with us men, we're visual creatures, right?
Right.
The moment we see something we like,
Mm-hmm.
nice eyes, nice curves, nice body. Okay, cool. Fuck with
Can I
it.
curse?
That's
Is
how
this
it is
family?
usually.
Can
No,
I
yeah,
curse?
you good. Yeah.
If you could curse,
Like,
fine.
so,
Okay, so-
hold on. Let me
okay.
just make my point. So with us,
I
first
think
of
it's a
all,
healthy introduction.
first of all, we're
sometimes.
going with visuals. A lot of the times when we talking to a shorty, the first thing we're thinking about is, damn, can we
Smashing?
get the kuntus? That's it. That's the main
Right.
first thing that comes in mind. Now, when the conversation goes, we get to see, okay, cool. Is she the right fit for me?
That's fine.
To go
There's
further
nothing
with.
wrong with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Go further with, right?
Mhm.
Now,
Okay,
me,
still
I'm
nothing wrong
more
here. That's
me
fine.
when it comes to that with my selection. How I go, I'm more traditional, right? So I follow those kind of traditional ideologies and all of that and all of that stuff. Where how it used to be done traditionally is your parents will also ask certain questions to find out, okay, how she is, where she come from, how she was brought up, how she was raised, and see if she's a perfect fit for you. A lot of the times when our parents were doing that back in the days, them relationships were lasting, the marriages was lasting. Now, right now, with the dating pool, how it is, and everybody going around doing whatever, God knows what, is not working out. People are becoming more toxic, they're getting more trauma, and they blame their future relationships on their past relationships. It's not really doing no justice for people right now.
I don't think
Fun is not fun. Fun is hoeing around.
But the dating is not the problem. Dating itself is not the problem. It's what people are considering dating and what people are doing when they're dating. Because what you're talking about, what people are doing, they're calling dating, is just they're fucking around. They're just jumping around from person to person. That's not the dating, I think. Maybe the definition of the dating is like,
Nah, dating
what
is
do
dating.
we actually consider dating? I'm like,
Right.
you see somebody, you meet them, and it don't have to be you go to dinner. It could be anything. Like, let's do something. Let's meet up and let's do something. And we're spending time together. We don't live together, so we're choosing a time. We're spending this time together. And so we're dating. We see each other. Can you date more than one person? I mean, that's on your preference. I think, whatever you could tolerate, you should probably date multiple to get the numbers out there, right? If you're trying to meet somebody, not waste time or whatever. So if you're dating people, that doesn't mean you have to sleep with everybody. But some
Exactly.
men, like you said, you visual, you want the kuntuns, what you say? Say it?
Kuntus.
Kuntus. Okay, did I say that? Kuntus? Okay, you want the kuntus. And so, so if you want the kuntus, so you're dating, obviously you want that, that's your goal. So are you just coming in for the kuntus and like, I'm out? Or are you like, if I get the kuntus, I still want to see what else she got and
I
I'm
can
going to go a
give you
little
the
bit
answer to
further
that.
than the kuntus. And I'm not saying with the men's intention, I'm saying if you're just coming in for the kuntus and you're bouncing, then that's fine. Women too, some women do that too. They just want to try it out, test drive it, and then leave. So if you're just doing that, then yes,
Agreed.
that's not dating. That's just sleeping around, I think, in my opinion. You're just fucking around. You're just bouncing from one, and that's what you're doing for fun or for pleasure, whatever. But if you're like, okay, let me date this person, let me spend time with this person a few weeks until I figure out if he's good enough to go a little bit long term, you have to do that. For me, if I'm looking, I have to see, let's say I'm dating 3 or 4 guys at one time. I'm like, okay, I need to know him a little bit more, right? I need to know what kind of person he is. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time before I figure out, all right, I'm gonna start dating him exclusively. And then after that, then further on, it's gonna be more of a long-term relationship for that goal. But it might not happen, but that's my goal, right?
All right, let me ask you a question. Would you ever settle or date down?
I think that's relative though. Like
No,
with
I'm just
settling and
asking.
with dating down. I think
Would
that's
you-
relative.
It's just a general
Well,
question.
it's a general question. Like, would you?
No,
ever
I
settle?
have. You know what? I have.
No. I don't
I
want to have.
No.
Would you do that now?
As of right
knowing
now.
I
everything
might.
you know
You
now.
know why?
No.
I might. Let me tell you why. I'm so-called picky. I've been told I'm super picky, and I got too many things on my list. And so
Why?
when I take a couple of those things off my list, I feel like that's me settling and dating down. But I do that because the market, the pool that I'm looking at, if I'm just looking at the people with all 10 of those things on my list, that market, like we said, is trash. So I'm like, I'm looking, but they're not out here. You know what I mean?
Have you ever really sat down and asked yourself, why is it that you have that list?
Well, yeah, for the most part, because based on my past experience and people that I have dated and things that I've seen, everything. I think I'm taking everything in holistically. And I'm also adapting with the times too. We are in real life situations where things are not the same as they was 3 years ago. You know what I mean? A lot has changed after pandemic for a lot of people, money-wise as well. So there's a lot of things I've had to adapt to and figure out, dang, I might have wanted that, but I gotta be a little bit realistic now. And I probably gotta put that maybe on the bottom of the list or put that on hold because I might not be able to find certain things. It's me trying to like gauge and be a little bit more realistic sometimes. And I don't think it's an unrealistic list that I have. I think I'm just adapting. It's a live list. I'm not gonna lie.
I think-
It's dynamic.
All right. Now, this is going to be a general statement I'm going to make. I think everyone freaking say that. That's cap. Now, what I'm going to say is
You
this.
said you think I'm capping?
You capping right.
I'm capping?
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Because,
I like that.
well, it's the
I
thing,
like
right?
that. No, I like that. Go ahead.
Like,
Because I got receipts for everything I say, but go ahead.
You may think that that list is not a lot. It's not a lot in your eyes because you've been,
I did say it was
custom-
relative, right?
I mean,
The first thing I said.
let me get there.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, for you, you've gotten it. So for you, to you, it's normal. It's not that much, really, because you've been.
You don't even know my list, though.
I mean, Now, what I'm saying is, you've had access to getting these things, right?
What things?
Oh God. Let me get this.
Okay, good. I'm stop. Sorry. I'm
Like,
just messing with you. Go ahead.
it's easy for you to get anything that is from your list. I don't
Right,
know what your
right.
list is,
Right.
but you know. Right?
hmm
So you having that list right now, right? It's like you wouldn't want to go beneath that because those things were so accessible to you. It's like you want more or that, something that's equivalent or more or better. You wouldn't really want to settle. Even for example, right now, when I was asking y'all, would y'all settle for less, right? You said you have before. You haven't really answered to say if
I
you
did.
would
I
again.
do. I said I do. I would still
Yeah.
because I'm adapting.
Okay. Perfect, right?
Mhm.
And then Shantae say no, she wouldn't settle. So this is what happens with the dating pool, right? When you start like getting things, or you start getting getting so used to certain things, you start to expect more. This is when hypergamy really kicks in, right? So it's like basically this is a crazy analogy, people. So don't come at me, right? It's like a crackhead. Do you think that they wanted to be a crackhead their whole freaking life? No. Do you think that they wanted to be a crackhead their whole freaking life? They started somewhere, right? They started with a small kind of drug probably before, and they got that high, and that high was cool, but they wanted more. They got another one. They went from weed to probably hash at this point. They got that high, but they wanted more, right? Then eventually got the crack. That's not enough. Now they want more. So that's what happens. That is hypergamy. You want more and more and more of that because you it's like you get a dopamine of a certain lifestyle or what you get from a certain guy to the point where it's like now, I don't want to date a guy like this again because the one I previously had, he did this, he did better than the one I dated from 5 years ago.
Mhm.
So it creates a kind of confusion with a lot of mate selection. And the same happens to guys too. But with guys, it's more different. Guys are willing to date a girl who's broke, rich. It don't really matter. And 9 times out of 10, we don't really deal with rich girls. I mean,
That's what I was gonna
we
say.
deal with
But is
rich
that
girls,
even
but,
on your list?
like
You
most
consider
guys
that-
don't
that's-
really want
You
to
don't consider
deal.
that dating down though.
Like most guys don't
Right?
really, huh?
I said you wouldn't really consider that dating
We don't
down.
care about it.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
get what I'm saying? So for us, we don't see it as dating down. We just see it as, yo, this is a person that I really like.
Right.
You
But
get
you
what
do
I'm
have a list, don't you? You have things on your list that you care about.
Like what? Like what?
Whatever is on your list that you care about. Religion was one of them that we mentioned.
I told you I don't care.
But you didn't know. You went back and said she would have to follow that because if
No.
you're raising
I
your
said she would
kid,
have to understand it. I never
But-
said she had to follow it. I said
we did kind of get to that point, and I said, "Do you?"
I said she'd
I was
have
like,
to understand
I guess you do care
that
about
my
religion. And it
kids.
was like, yeah.
Nah, I said she'd have to
Think your
understand.
dad wants you or would prefer you to be with a woman who
He would
follows
prefer, but he
one of the
doesn't
three.
care. Literally.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
So-
in general, you don't
Yeah, I
have a
know.
list. So you don't have a list of things. It doesn't have to be like a physical list. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
there are things that, and like I said, even though you said it's cap, again, for me, I'm a little bit open-minded in a lot of things. And like, to me, I understand, I like realism. And if I need to adapt and I understand what survival is, I'm like, I gotta adapt to certain things. My list is not always the same. It changes. I adapt. So I see things differently. I'm a very entrepreneurial mindset. So certain things that are important to some people are not important to me, and vice versa. You know what I mean? And I'm not afraid or ashamed of, kind of scratching something off and start it all over again. Said that did not work. Let me try this now.
Okay.
Right? So I do take things off because also I could meet somebody, it's on a case by case. And I thought that for me, for example, the guy has to like have, I don't know, like the longest hair. Let's say I'm not interested in long hair anymore, but let's just say, okay, no, let me give you a realistic one then. I like men who dress well.
Okay.
I like men who dress well. So I'm like, and what's dress well to me? Again, that's relative. Everybody has a different opinion of what dress well is. So whatever my dress well is, I like a man to dress like that. So when I am looking, if they don't meet that criteria, I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying? But I have like let's say the dating pool, it wasn't showing me much. And I'm out here for a minute, like just looking. I'm like, okay, there's not a lot to choose from. Kind of like looking for a job in a bad market, right? You're like, oh, there's not a lot. I'm gonna have to stop looking for that, $150,000 a year job and start looking for something that's giving me a little bit less because they're not here, at least for now, maybe, or things change. But so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm probably like, all right, he isn't dressed exactly how I want, but he's handsome and he's funny. So I'll do something like that. Is that dating down? It's just me like adapting and me kind of like, rolling with certain things because I do still have my top couple of things that are deal breakers that I'm not gonna settle for. You know, certain things I'm not gonna do. Those are deal breakers, and I know me. And if I do it, he's not gonna be happy. I'm not gonna be happy. So in that sense, I'm not gonna settle on those things, but I will settle on other things.
Why you said no?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just coming back into the dating world. I've been out for quite some time.
But you back like you never left.
So there's honestly, I could honestly go a couple years being single, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm living with someone and tied down. I just, yeah, no.
Okay.
So again, I have a lot of things that I'm looking for, so I'm not settling to the point where I'm compromising because I'm doing it by myself, especially raising my kids and being by myself and making a living and doing the things like on my own. Like I don't need someone for that. So
What would you say is settling down?
That was a deep sigh. That was deep.
like you guys can come back to me because
Take your time.
Take your time.
What-
Okay, are you like
what would you-
hesitating because you don't want to say it?
yeah,
Or
I just don't want to say.
I think, try it. Like,
You might as well
share,
say it.
share.
Yeah.
you feel like it's going to like be offensive? Is that what you feel like?
It's not gonna be offensive to any of us, man. We having
No.
a conversation. I think you should
So
be comfortable.
say
with that.
general as you can, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Be honest, girl. If that's your truth, listen.
Your truth is your truth.
Like, what do you
But you know
think?
what?
Like to you, what is something that's you settling down for something that's not enough for you, or it's like, because I don't want to try to give you a definition.
Is it
like an
going to have
explanation.
to do with money? Was you going to say something with money?
Money is part of it,
Okay.
Okay.
definitely.
All right. What else?
With money, how much? How much?
It got to be an actual number.
Yeah, it got to be an estimate.
All right.
I don't want to say a number.
Yeah. Well, how much?
Y'all don't want to hear my
How
number.
much is too low for
I
you?
want to hear my number.
That's like a requirement for someone you would have to be with. For
What-
someone
okay,
to
what's a number
qualify,
that's
for
too
someone to
low?
qualify to be with you, what is a number that's too low?
A number that's too low.
Yeah, give a number that's too low, and don't say
I would-
one.
I would probably say like 65, 70,000.
65.
Oh.
That'd be something too low.
And the state matters. We live in New York, man. In Houston, 65 is okay. That's fine. But here, 65 it's a little struggly. I'm not, no offense to anybody who has it, but whoever's making 60, they can attest to it's a little struggly in New York.
It
65 is struggling. They struggling.
So-
There's nothing against the person who's making that, but we all know that's a struggle to make that.
So, all right. So you said
To live,
finances.
you know.
Finances is one. 65 below is basically, that would basically be like dating down. That's you settling for someone with less, right? Aside from that, what else?
Looks. that's
I
usually the
mean,
major character, like
yeah.
looks and money.
You have to be I have to be attracted to you
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
So size doesn't
When you say
matter.
looks, are you
Size
talking
doesn't
about,
matter?
You should
are
be
you talking
fit,
about
for
your
sure.
physical features?
Size don't
Or
matter,
what?
girl.
What exactly do you mean by looks?
So it can be
No,
any size.
Size does not matter. I'm not.
Hmm?
I'm not one of those girls that
I am.
you gotta
Sorry.
be.
Sorry. I am.
It's about how you move. FYI.
No, it's not.
So
Myth.
this is the thing,
Myth.
right?
But go ahead.
So this
Yeah, all y'all gonna just adjust. Myth. Are we gonna go on that one or are we not gonna
So
go there? We're gonna
this
leave
is
that
the
one?
thing also, right? I got another question for you. Right? What do you think is like the medium income? Like the medium income, like median.
Depends on your neighborhood.
Yeah.
What is the median income generally?
In Long Island City,
Throughout-
I know
no,
the
no, I'm
demographics.
talking
The median
about
income is different where I
specifically there.
live.
I'm talking about generally throughout the United States. What do you think is the median income?
Maybe like 30, 35.
35. So the bracket that you named that should be the least to disqualify you, like to disqualify the guy, it's like a good 16% of men that probably make that probably.
But not in New York.
Wait,
New York is
hold on,
different.
hold on.
We
We
have to
talking
take into
about generally.
consideration
We're not even just
locality.
talking about New York. We're talking about general.
No,
Yeah, we're talking about general right now.
you said general. Are we
Forget New
counting
York.
all the states?
Every state
Are we talking
together,
about?
yes. Every state together, yes.
Okay.
Around 39 to exactly, I believe,
But what's wrong with that?
40.
If that's her, you know.
39 to around 45 or 46. Oh, no, I'm bugging. From 39 to about 48,000.
But what's
So that is like the average
Mhm.
that most men actually make. And then women actually make less than that,
Mhm.
right? So what that does is when you do want those guys who make that or more, it kind of like eliminates all of the guys who will probably qualify to give you a successful relationship.
What's that
And
though?
a successful relationship, probably don't even cheat, more committed, all of that
But
other
she
good
said
stuff.
for her.
Hold on, hold on.
We didn't ask her.
I'm just saying. But I'm just saying. I'm not coming at her. I'm just saying because a lot of the times, like there's certain like things that are disqualifiers
Mhm.
that I think a lot of women have, and they're
People.
like really unrealistic sometimes. We're talking about this right now, right? So
Mhm.
I think a lot of women have some unrealistic like expectations of certain things of what they perceive life to be sometimes, and it's not really that way.
Mhm.
It's like a small percentage of people who are like that.
Mhm.
And a lot of those people that may be like that sometimes, you might not be their option because they might have a bundle of options that are there for them.
Mhm.
Because the same way as how you want them,
Mhm.
those girls that are making below average
Mhm.
also want them.
Mhm.
So those girls will apply a lot of pressure to get them.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So as for you, like let's say you're getting a bunch of guys who are probably average that are on your DMs, but you disqualifying them from what they can't really qualify for the moment right now, right? And it just like basically limits your pool. Cause them guys, I'm not gonna lie, they be having that pool. They got that pool, they got that access.
Mhm.
So with them, what they will want is to see, okay, what can you do for them to make you more better than all these other girls who don't really have nothing, but they're actually showing more other things that they can do. So it kind of makes it harder for like selecting you. I don't know if you get it.
And I'm okay with that.
So you gonna wait?
No, I mean, but if
Yes.
this is what I'm saying. If you have your preferences, if you have your
Mhm.
list, that's what the list is for. It's to disqualify the ones that don't meet that criteria. This is not for everybody. If I'm doing interviews, this is not for all of you.
Yeah.
I want to eliminate 50% of you, if not more, from the door. Let's not waste time. Don't waste my time. So if that's not one of the things I prefer, then, and I'm not saying me, I'm just saying, as far as that being a thing on the list, because I have a lot of friends, I know a lot of people that is a requirement. That part is big.
Yeah.
That is important. But for whatever's on your list, if this is the thing on your list and you want to disqualify, she don't, want the people who don't make that
Mhm.
for her reasons to do that, then that's what you want to do. Let's say you're looking for a woman that's, you don't like, and beauty's relative, right? In the eye of the beholder. You don't want a female that's like below a 5, whatever you would think a 5 is.
Yo, 5 is not bad.
But that's
think people-
relative,
hold
right?
on, man.
That's relative. I'm just saying.
5 is not
If
bad.
you don't want somebody who's
A
lower than
5?
5,
No one's
for
like-
example.
At least a 7, bro.
Yes, thank you.
Five is that. Everyone, there's like 20
Yo.
people. I can't see like 20
Bro.
I'm joking. But like,
5 is an average.
but no, but five is, but
5
you're,
is an
for you,
average.
it's not bad.
No,
But
no.
for somebody
5
else,
is an average.
but that's for you.
You get what I'm saying?
That's
Just
for
like
you.
how, for example, the median income is an
But-
average.
But again,
5
that's
is literally
for you.
an average.
We're talking about preference. If somebody says preference-wise, okay, here's a 5. I don't want a 5. I want somebody who's 6 and above. That's their preference. They know they're eliminating all the 5s.
Mhm.
They know that, and they're okay with that because they don't want the
But
5s.
this the thing, right?
You know what I mean?
I think this is what everyone should always take into consideration, right? What you are looking for, you should also question what is it that they're looking for. Before you really say that I want this, I need this, this is what I get, this is what I deserve. Before you say I deserve it, you shouldn't say or exclude anything else. You should ask, okay, this number that I want, a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever, what is it that they want that I need to qualify for?
So you're trying to say
get them?
if I'm picking the 5, I might be a 5?
If
You're saying I'm a 5 and I'm trying to get better than a 5. No, I get that. I get that.
Yeah, like you
Yeah,
have to.
I get
like,
that.
you really have to
Realistically, You want
question
people to
what is
like.
it that they want
That is
for
a
you to
fact.
basically, you get what I'm saying?
So
And that's why a lot of the time, I'm not even gonna hold y'all. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to justify cheating and all that shit, or like messing around and all that.
Mhm.
Feel me? But that's why a lot of the times, a lot of girls who are like under a 6 be winning a lot of the times, because it's like they're willing to do the things that these other girls who might believe that they're a 10
I don't think nobody's winning.
and all of that. Like the things that they think that they should get, those girls are like, how do I say it? Like a 5 could be willing to do everything that a 10 won't do.
Mhm.
And that can qualify that 5 to be a wife.
I think that becomes a concern when, like I said, I'm the type of person who I'm gonna go through those numbers first. Like if I'm holding all these interviews and then I started going through all of them and there's no one left to interview, I'm gonna have to start going back through the deck and be like, okay, well, I already eliminated everybody. Let me go back and see if somebody's under 65,000 a year, if that was my number. If they have some, maybe I'm gonna just lower it down to maybe 55. You know, maybe I'll do that. I will go back to the drawing board a little bit if I see that something. And, you know, but you got to try that first, right? You have to, if that's your preference, you have to try that preference first, I think.
You don't gotta
And then
try
see
it.
if it's working and then kind of like scale from there. You got to scale. You don't just start picking up every scrapes and scraps on the bottom of the barrel.
And
I don't know.
also-
If you don't have to, why am I doing that? Why am I picking up bottom feeders
I think-
and stuff like that if I don't have to?
I don't think you have to try. I think what it is, you just have to do and make a realistic, like, how do I say it? Like have more of a realistic like thought process when it comes to like mate selections, because a lot of the times we want things, but we don't understand that the things that we want require certain things.
I think she was being realistic with
That
that.
65 is realistic.
That's very realistic.
I didn't say
though.
150. I didn't say 100.
That is
No, that's
very
the
fair.
least
I think that
I said the
was very
least.
fair.
Listen, yo,
Yeah, and that was
look,
realistic.
listen though.
I think a minimum
But you
of
have to
65 is
listen
you
to
can
the
get
question.
35 an hour
Listen to
from
the question
Starbucks,
very.
I think.
Yo, I gotta listen to the question very well.
Starbucks, man.
I said the least.
I don't even know.
Remember, I said the least. I didn't even say the most.
But that's what we're
Hold
saying.
on.
She
I
had
didn't even
that.
say the average.
But she said that.
Listen carefully. I said the least. You said 65
It's
is
not
the
a different-
least.
We heard you, but she
You
still
get what I'm
feels
saying?
like
A lot of niggas
65
are not
is
making
fine.
65.
A lot of them are, though. A
No,
lot
they're
of them
not. Nah,
are.
That's cap.
It is. A lot of them
A
are.
lot of niggas are not.
I'm not going to wherever they're at that's not making it. I'm just saying it's realistic. For example, especially if you're, let's say you're working, and back when I used to work in the office, I could give a number because everyone around me is making that. They're almost all of them. 90% of the people that I'm working with are making this amount of money. So that's not unrealistic to say there's a lot of people here I could date. But these thousands of people that were working when I worked on Wall Street, Park Avenue, Fifth Avenue, all these places I work, there's thousands of them. I don't know if you've been outside on the street and you see them leaving those buildings. Almost all of them that are leaving those office buildings, are making 65 and up. Almost all. Almost all. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them are. That's not a
Now,
small pool
when
for
you
her to pick
say
from.
that, right? This the thing.
Uh-huh.
This the reason why sometimes I say that statement could be pointless sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you can be around that. That section is like a small percentage off of the majority. That is not normal. Most people don't make that.
But we're not talking
Look,
about
but
that.
Listen though, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So even with that small pool that you have right there, how many of them are you marrying?
But we don't know because this is
None.
where she lives. She lives here. She's not
But-
dating people
no,
in
no,
Ohio.
I'm not talking
She
about
lives
her.
here in New York.
I'm not talking about
Okay,
her.
sorry.
I'm just saying in general.
Okay.
Of those small pool, how many of them are giving you a ring? None. So this is what happens with these kind of
We don't
situations.
know that.
None. This is what happens with them
But what does that
situations.
mean?
Right?
No, my
No, wait,
point,
you gotta like, you
my
gotta
point is
explain
this.
that. Wait, no.
Look, no, y'all gotta
It
listen.
is-
Y'all gotta listen carefully because, all right, let me make my point. That's like basically
Okay,
saying,
sorry.
that's like basically saying, okay, cool. Just because I have money or I've been around money, then I can say that world hunger is not a thing. People
No,
are
that's
actually
not
not
what we're
poor.
saying.
When the majority of people, a lot of them out in the world are poor.
That's not what
They
we're
don't
saying.
have it. So
You
that's
asked
what
a
I'm saying.
personal thing about
No,
what
but
was her
no.
criteria.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm literally, my point to make is
Okay.
certain selections or certain thought processes that people have sometimes could be unrealistic to a degree. It's like, I'm not saying that she's wrong for having like the expectations that she had for a person or like the disqualifiers for a person. I never said she's wrong for it. I'm just saying that she's limiting herself from finding other things.
I think it's realistic. We live in one of the greatest cities, New York, and you happen to have a wide pool of things that meet that criteria. Now, if I was, because you are accurate, let's say I lived, because I have lived in other places like Houston and Florida, Miami, and things like that. If I lived in another state like Houston, definitely you would have to like reconsider, girl. Here, no, that's high. That's considered high for Houston. So that would be unrealistic, I think, for there. But I think for here, that's not unrealistic. And you're accurate. That's not a depiction of the wider scale. That is very high compared to the rest of the country and other places. And if you were to look at other neighborhoods of New York City even. But depending on where she's at, because I don't know, I'm not getting personal like that, that could be realistic for her. That's all I was saying is that.
Yeah, I know.
But for the world view, and I think for the general of US, is it a little bit high? Yeah, but if that's why.
It's high.
So a lot of people do have.
A lot of people don't make that.
So I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. That in general, a lot of people nowadays, you look at social media and all of the comments and things like that, you be looking at like, girl, you know, or boy, you're dating out of your league or something like that is what you're saying, or it's not realistic. But I think for here,
but what I'm saying is like, it's nothing wrong with wanting that, right? The thing that comes with it is like understanding that, okay, cool, even if you want that, they also want something too, right? So it's like, I think your duty in that situation would be basically to find out what it is that they want for you to be the top candidate for them. You get what I'm saying? That's all it really is. I'm not saying that you don't deserve it. You feel me? I think everybody need to like explore and see who's the better pick for them. You get what I'm saying? And I believe in hypergamy. I think that's the thing. Women are hypergamous, and there's nothing wrong with that for me. You feel me? As long as it's more realistic, that's what matters.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
But men are also different. They look at women. I mean, one woman who's pretty to you may not be pretty to you. Like you said, you would date 4s and 5s. He said he would not.
You see how she just started
I be hearing stuff. It be me in my own head. And I have conversation with like 3 people. I'm sorry that I did that.
If she see them, if she see
No, nothing wrong with 4s and 5s. And my 4 and my 5 is like different. Like, but I'm just saying, like, you might date one. So even if let's say you're both making 65, what he finds attractive or what he finds appealing may not be what you find appealing. So, you know, somebody's gonna like it, I think.
Right.
I know it's easy. It is trash out here, but it's doable.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Date
that's
who you
fair.
date. The reason why I say 6 and 5s are not bad, I'm saying that they're not bad in the sense of you can actually find people with good character for you to marry. I think a lot of guys do pursue women for looks a lot of the times, and I think that causes them to push themselves in a freaking deep hole where they're not gonna pause. No diddy. They put themselves in certain situations where they can't really recover from. You get what I'm saying? Just because this is a pretty face and all of that,
And
you
the
don't know that
kuntus.
the insides is not good. You get what I'm saying? So, and it's some 4s and 5s that have great qualities. If you want a wife,
no, you meant good kuntus.
Great quality.
Great kuntus is what you were
Great
trying to
quality.
say. I heard the 4s and the 5s got the best kuntus. No?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. But they willing to do more. You said they be willing to do everything, right? 4s and 5s are
What
willing
I'm
to do
saying
everything. They don't
is-
say no.
What
They
I'm
no
saying
limits.
is this.
Told
What
you.
I'm saying is they're willing to do more work.
You know?
So what
Yeah,
I'm saying is they're willing to do more work to really please people a lot of times. And as for like people who also have a high rating and a high number, they're so used to getting certain things that to them is like they expect things to come to them and not for them to do things sometimes. So that's what happens a lot of the times. Like, because I've dated a bunch of women in my life, right? I've dealt with a bunch of girls who were models, vixens, and everything and all of that shit, right?
Yeah, whack
And
kuntus.
what I realized with a lot of
Oh.
I didn't say back kuntus now. Don't try to get me killed. So what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is they might have had everything that I wanted physically and everything, but when it came to mentally and as far as seeing the longevity with them, they didn't have that.
Right.
And there's certain characteristics that showed to me that they weren't qualified to even be with me. You get what I'm saying? And then basically me even talking to them was like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but it was like a privilege.
Right. And when you say qualified, you have a criteria of things that's important to you. Kind of like an unspoken list. It don't got to be a real list, but you got a
It's
criteria.
simple.
But
Don't
whatever
bother
it
me.
is.
Don't bother me. And literally just be feminine and be yourself. Like, be cool, be a woman. Don't try to be argumentative. That's it. I don't have other... My criteria and the things that I want are more realistic. These are not things that you can't work on. But for you to require that from someone who's never, ever had any guy tell them that,
Mhm.
it's hard because
Mhm.
they've always got things given to them. It's like they have a silver spoon, so they're not used to it.
And we're talking
So
about the higher ones. The ones
yeah,
that they,
so
okay.
for example, so when they have a guy who's like stern on what he want and know who he is, they're not used to that.
Mhm.
So they try to be challenging with it.
Mhm.
And me, I'm one of them type of niggas like, all right, cool, you want to do that? Bye.
Right. Do that
Don't
over
let the door
there.
hit you on your way
Do
out.
that over there.
Go find your nigga.
It ain't me.
I'm broke, baby.
You're right.
I don't have
Lies.
it. But yeah.
Lies.
All right, man. This is a good episode, but we're going to wrap it up. So thank you,
Okay.
everybody, for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button for more content. Thank you. And make sure to follow everyone. Erica don't have social media, but when you do find out her brand, her business, and everything that's going on, make sure to like, comment,
And they-
subscribe it. Shantae's IG will be below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and you know the vibes.
Peace.
Peace. All right.
Yay.
Ugh.